Welcome everybody to my new segment, Dunkin' on Dave, where we take the arguments of dollar demagogue Dave Rubin, dissect and debunk that motherfucker. And I'm your host, Jack Horner. Now, for today's segment, in our pilot episode, we're going to go into a specific and very special piece of douchebaggery so dumb, it'll leave you completely fucking floored at how a man this fucking insipid has an audience as big as he does. So what we're going to talk about is his discussion on the Rogan Experience. He got in a discussion on Rogan about building codes, about regulations. And like Dave Rubin's mom, this video or this discussion has already gone around. Sam Cedar's already done a video on it. Kyle Kalwinski has done a video on it. And you might be asking yourself, why am I choosing to do a video on it? Well, it's not just because I'm better looking than Kyle Kalwinski. It's not just because I have a bigger penis than Sam Cedar. It's because I found out something, or I realized something, that they didn't. See, when he was on the Tim Pool, and by he I mean Dave Rubin, was on Tim Pool, he said that in regards to the discussion, he's not really into the nitty-gritty of things. He's an ideas man. He's an ideas man. Well, why that's so fucking dumb is that, Dave, you're not in your dorm room smoking weed with your buddies, taking bong hits, fucking talking about if there's a God, or if there's life on other planets, or parallel universes, or some shit. What you're saying has consequences. What you're talking about has real-world effects. And you can't just say you're an ideas man. The nitty-gritty is the only thing that matters. Like, and by the way, that nitty-gritty, that need to not want to get into the nitty-gritty, is exactly why we need regulation in the first fucking place. Because people who build buildings, or people who do, or businessmen of any kind, they don't want to get into the nitty-gritty either. They just want to make money the quickest way possible. That's it. That's why we need regulations. That's why we need nitty-gritty, Dave. And the other thing I realized by that statement is he says he's an ideas man, right? And that makes it sound like he's open-minded. But that statement revealed to me that the opposite is true. That statement means that he has no convictions whatsoever because he's an ideas man. He hasn't done any research on what he's talking about. He doesn't know the nitty-gritty of it. He's not committed to it. He's just a free-flow ideas man. Yeah, you know, it doesn't really matter if buildings aren't built right and, you know, people die. And that brings me to my real-world consequence point. See, like Dave Rubin lives in California, a place that gets 10,000 earthquakes per year. And a place that's had thousands of people die from earthquakes. And what he's proposing could easily kill people. Like, how could it not? How could less regulation, or even no regulation, which is what he's fucking saying, purely private market, not end up in the deaths of people if they have another 0.5 earthquake? How is that not going to happen? And Joe, and honestly, the last and final point I want to fucking make is to Dave Rubin. You know, like, literally, if you don't get into the nitty-gritty and you don't back yourself up with what you're saying, and it's purely just spitballing about ethereal ideas that have no effect on anybody, or however the fuck he likes to think about it, what he's saying is that his arguments aren't built on a solid foundation. They're not built on the nitty-gritty. They're not built on the evidence. They're not built on anything except words and ideas. Just pure discussion to get views and to get famous people on his fucking show, and not really. And he's not really trying to examine the effects of what he's saying. And honestly, like, what he's literally saying right there is that his arguments are basically a house built on sand without a solid foundation. His arguments are the intellectual manifestation of what could be possible in the real world if deregulation happens. So, in conclusion, really try to examine what certain people say when they try to sound open-minded. And I want to ask you, is Dave Rubin gay, or is he someone that's so stupid that gay men have manipulated him into gay sex? Because I think that there's a strong possibility. And yeah, what are your other thoughts on what I said? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you, and unless I fling myself off a fucking building and kill myself, I will see you next time. Thank you.